on what is the most dastardly thing someone has ever said to you, but like in a funny way. What's off top of your dome? Someone just said something so you're like, what? How dare you? How you evil doer? So what's the one thing that sticks in your mind?
Hang on. Hang on. Pause. So,
No, you go. No pause.
so
There's no pause. This is all staying in the
somebody,
recording.
so, somebody said something dastardly to me, or
Yeah,
do I
yeah, yeah.
think, or something that I think is dastardly that
No, no,
could
no.
be
What is the
said to me?
most dastardly thing someone has ever said to you that you were like, damn, they got my ass. They cooked with that one. What is there's the see, okay, for me, I'll let you think. I'll let you stew on that thought for a second. I'll let you stew it. I'll let you cook. I'll let you marinate. I'll let you sit in the fridge for at least 9 to 10 hours. Uh, for me, somebody said that I looked like the opposite of what it feels like to taste five gum. And for the longest time, I sat there and I was like, damn, damn, it's fucked up, man. I couldn't even respond. I was like, what am I supposed to say to that? You're stupid. Like, no, like, what am I? You can't even respond to that. Be like, yeah, you know, you. That's what I said to them, and then I looked stupid. Then we fought. So like, it was. I had to get my honor back somehow. There was no other way. So now, do you have any thoughts on something
The
dastardly?
woman was too stunned to speak.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've taken her breath away. Hello, we are Otakus on air. This is what we do on this podcast. We ask random questions, and she's still trying to think about something. She's been insulted so few times in her life that she that was
I'm just so nice to people. What can I say?
she is a very nice person. I'm Nikos. She's Maria. We thank you guys for watching our other videos. We just started the channel a couple weeks ago. I mean, we've been in the channel since like mid July, but we just actually started doing stuff within the last like 2 weeks. And then we took a 2 week basically break. So we just love not doing things. We went to Cancun. We had a vacation. Happy birthday, Elizabeth. I miss you, Henry. There's a bunch of things that
Shout
went
out
down
Henry.
there. We went cave diving. We went ATV riding. We went cocktail drinking, and it was a great time. Uh
Some
First
people saw
time
the ocean for the
I
first time. Mhm.
saw the ocean. We went to Cancun. The Cancun beaches were white sand beaches. It's very beautiful, very nice place. Although though obviously it was the sea, so the sea was salty, but the pools were salty. Didn't really like that. Didn't really like the sweat taste that it felt like. Not that I drink pool water, but
You've heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Nikos drinks pool water.
but yeah, it was just you know what I mean. If you're coughing, something gets to your mouth, you're like, not that chlorine. Am I saying chlorine tastes better? Sure, why not? But it definitely
You're a
was.
connoisseur of the taste of pool water.
I would. Do you like swimming in like the ocean slash lake more, or do you like swimming in a pool more?
I like swimming in the ocean. I like the sounds. I like the imminent danger that it poses of being, like swept up, or like, was that a
The
fish or
imminent
was that
danger.
seaweed? I don't know. It's
I
exciting.
can't say I agree with you at all. I think I honestly think that's terrible. I hate all those things, honestly.
Well,
I would much rather
good timing for
stay
me.
in a nice pool or I could touch the bottom, see the bottom, and if I'm gonna die, it's because I chose to die, not
I
because
like
anybody else put that out, not because a shark came and ate me.
I like not being able to touch the floor. You know what I mean? Like,
You could just go to like 3 foot and you wouldn't be able to touch the floor. So you would be good there.
you want to know what the most dastardly thing someone said to me was? No, no, the most dastardly thing that somebody has said to me is you calling me a baked bean.
You are a big bean. You're a big bean. Yeah, you are a big bean. But anyway, that's what we've been doing. But we've been staying up to date on all the anime that's coming out. Uzumaki finished. We watched the first two episodes of Dragon Ball Daima. We watched the My Hero movie, which was pretty sick, and we are going to also mention a little bit about Dragon Ball Sparking. Well, I will be talking about it. You've caught uh my what do I want to call it? The secondhand smoke of my Dragon Ball Sparking Zero fandom in the last like week and a half. But before we get into all that, if you guys are still here, you're still watching, please leave a like, please subscribe, comment down below what's the most dastardly thing someone's ever said to you. Uh, let me
Did
know the
somebody call you
insults.
a baked bean?
Are you a racist? Do you hate? Yeah, to quote the great JD Vance. All right, so let's get into the show. What do you want to talk about? You want to talk about Daima first? Talk about some
Yeah,
Daima.
sure.
Okay, so we went into the show. I'm a big Dragon Ball fan. I've watched all the series. I watched, Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Super, GT, everything. Played the majority of the games. She's watched Abridged. And so we went into that. With that being said, we went into it very open-minded. There wasn't really
Very
much.
knowledgeable
Yeah. Well, I
on
mean,
Dragon Ball.
to be honest, I don't really think that there was much like into this series besides like I don't know who it's for. Kids, maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know. I don't
yeah, I'm
know.
also a little confused about that.
Yeah, I don't know who's it for, but it's here and we got it. So, we watched the first episode, and you know what? The first episode was like very recappy, but like you never even saw the Boo saga, so this was all new information to you. Um, but as somebody who's watched this since I was like 7 years old, I was like, oh, I know everything that's happening. What I did like in the recap though is that they reshaded some of the scenes and it did look they reanimated like a couple of them and I thought that it was cool that they stayed true to how that animation looked back then and they didn't try to change it to how it looks like now. And I thought that was like a kind of a cool like callback because the director or the art design director of this show is the person who did the majority of the Boo saga. So it's kind of cool that they got to, come back and kind of do that sort of thing. Uh, but for the most part, like the story is, just uh, we're finding out what happens after Deborah, who used to be the Demon King, is killed by Boo, and then we find out that this like little mushroom-looking dude, Goma, is who was also a Majin apparently, is taking over as the king, and that's how like the first episode kind of ends. And like I wasn't super enthralled with the show with the first episode. I thought it was very like I don't know how I feel about the animation. Like, how do you feel about how it looks? Like, just for the first episode specifically. No, it was only like 15 episodes or 15 like minutes or so of new information. What did you think of it?
So I am aware that it was like for the most part like majority a recap. Um, I knew like bits and pieces of what happens just from being around people that like Dragon Ball or are very knowledgeable of Dragon Ball. Um, but as somebody that's never like watched it, um, it I didn't feel like I was missing anything, which was nice. I felt like I could go into it like knowing as much for the most part as like everyone
Yeah.
else. Um, I like I did like the animation though. Like I felt that it was pretty smooth. I liked that it felt like fresher. It was like very bright. Um, and because they're all like turned into children, it makes me feel like the show is geared more towards children because like to me like in my opinion like a lot of shows that are showing characters as like chibi versions of themselves or like that of the like seem to be geared more towards younger audiences. So that makes me wonder where this is gonna go.
Yeah.
Um, I also felt like the opening was very like
Oh, yeah. I didn't even think
watching
about
a
the opening.
kids show.
Well, they didn't have the opening in the first episode, so we weren't even like we didn't even know what it was. And then the second episode hit. Man, that opening sucks. I mean, okay,
I
okay,
think
this
the
is
animation's cute. I like the animation. I
yeah.
don't like the song.
Yeah, this might be a hot take because it's not maybe not a hot take. Like there are some Dragon Ball openings that I feel like are, current that will be like, yeah, like My Hero or like JJK or whatever, they'll have that like upbeat sort of like Japanese like rock type of feel to it. Like, but some of like Dragon Ball Super's intros were like oh, like your dad chose this, you know? Like this is like your dad's like 80s like rock.
Okay, but like I like
Not your
dad
dad, but
rock,
like
so
well, essentially this song is essentially how their version of like, you know, come on, chameleon. This is their like version of like that type of music. So like, and I don't even know what the song's called. I don't even know what it is, but I do know like arrows of that type of thing. That's how it kind of sounds. That's kind of how the first Dragon Ball Super one kind of felt to me. It was like it's very I don't know. It's just not that upbeat. I like the last Dragon Ball Super intro. But anyway, yeah, the intro song just wasn't killing it. The outro song wasn't that bad. I did like
oh.
I like the animation. I always think they kill it with the intro stuff. They know how to make highlights of their stuff. But so I guess we could talk a little bit more about some of the characters. Like we haven't seen Gohan yet. We've seen Goten. We've seen basically the entire cast besides Videl and Gohan for some reason. We have Shin. We have along with Goma, we have Degasu, and then we meet like this old um uh Namek, and I don't remember what his name is right now,
Yeah,
uh
me neither.
but we meet like an old Namek who's just hanging around and we find out about the demon realm a little bit. See, this is what I get. Like, I don't know if it's for kids or I mean, like, I think the animation's for kids, but I think some of the lore that's being, and I feel like the story, not that it's saying it's like a super advanced story that we're gonna be like, describing how depressed Goku will get. Like, we're never gonna get that, but it almost like is kind of cool with the lore drops with talking about how Namekians did come from the demon realm. And I think that's that because so I know you won't know this, but for anybody who hasn't watched Dragon Ball Z, Piccolo's dad is Demon King Piccolo, right? And for the longest time, it was like, why was a Namekian who was supposedly an alien on Earth, which is what we find out in the beginning of Dragon Ball Z with Piccolo and Rad's talking with him about that. But the always question was like, okay, well, his dad was called Demon King Piccolo. I thought he was a demon. Like that was weird. So now we find out that like no, the Namekians did come from the demon realm, and anybody who has like pointy ears is a demon. So it's like it kind of opens your eyes a little bit to like different characters. Like I'm gonna talk a little bit about Sparking Zero like later, but there's a character like Tapion who's in only like movie canon only, and he has like pointy ears, and I was like, oh shit, that's kind of cool because then that kind of connects back to some of the powers that he has and why he has like a demon inside of him. And you're like, what the fuck? But and anyway, like I think that's actually pretty cool that they dropped that sort of lore along with there being like supreme kais of the demon realm, like Degasu being Shin's brother. I think that's like I don't know if it's like top tier information that somebody would be like, oh yeah, can't wait to hear more about the demon realm and all that kind of shit. But at the same time, um, where this lands in the timeline, it's between Super and the end of the Boo saga. It's like I don't know, nobody really knows fully what was going down during that time segment. So, here we are, and this is the information that they're giving us. But yeah, everyone turns into kids. they're all like Goku and Shin end the first episode by going to the demon realm, and we get to find
Mhm.
out like, oh yeah, also the Degasu and Goma steal Dende because Dende turns into a baby. So now
Not
they stole
little
little
green.
green.
Little green.
But yeah, I mean that's kind of it. There wasn't that's what I mean. There wasn't like much. There's not like much there
Hmm.
in terms of like story. We are only like what the 45 minutes into a new series. We're not really gonna get all that much, but I think the Demon Realm stuff's cool. I think the animation looks dope. I think the color.
Hmm.
I will need to see how the fights look
Yeah, I think so too. Hmm.
like before I fully like can call this like really good Dragon Ball series. I mean, they've had like web series before. I think it was like Dragon Ball Super Heroes, something like that. It was like an online thing where the story was null. There was no story there. It was just people fighting. And
Hmm.
it was just every character you could think of. It was actually pretty cool. It was like every video game except in animated form, and every character you could think of. And they had like some guy named Cucumber, and he was a sick like character. It was zero storyline, but everyone fought, and it was pretty cool. Um, like that's what I'm saying. Like they could put out random shit that's like, all right, fine, I'll eat it. Like this one is this might just be one of those like, all right, whatever. Just eat it on up. But yeah, that's Dragon Ball Daima. Did you have any other like little thoughts there for it?
I think like for me, like it does definitely have that like potential. I think like Dragon Ball is so known for its fight scenes and just like for fighting in general that I think it does kind of depend on how they're going to have that play out, especially because they're so small. I did
Yeah,
like seeing that little like Gohan, not Gohan, Goku training moment where he's like trying to get used to his body.
yeah.
I thought that was really cute. I just think that it's cute. And I don't know if that's the vibe they want to give off. So we'll
I
have to
think
see.
so. Honestly, I think so. It's just there's so much like space in the Dragon Ball realm to like add in something like this that it's like who cares? Honestly, if it ends up being like absolutely trash, it's like well, they were just little. Who cares? Like it doesn't really.
They were
No,
kids.
yeah. Like no one's really gonna like go and yeah. I've watched some TikTokers actually react to like Dragon Ball Daima, and people are like, you'll have one side that are treating it just like, oh, it's fun that we're getting more Dragon Ball stuff. It's cool that we're getting to see like
Mhm.
Akira Toriyama's like final,
Yeah, that is
write
really
off.
cool. Hmm.
And I'm on that side. I'm totally on that side.
Yeah, it's really
But
cool.
there are still people who are like, what the fuck is this? Like, why are they making this type of shit? And like, I kind of get that too. I kind
Yeah.
of do too. As an almost 30-year-old man, like watching like Dragon Ball for my entire life, it's like, do you think at some point they would just go back to making it, a little bit more gritty, like kind of like a
Hmm.
JJK in a way, like how we have more hard hitting characters, and you don't even got to tell the story of Goku if you don't want to tarnish that like that character. You have plenty of characters like Trunks who can tell a very empathetic story that can dig into how much the Future Saga sucks, and you could tell that story and have it be gritty while it's still holding true to it being a Dragon Ball show instead of giving us like we're kind of just forced to fucking watch a kid show in a way. Not forced. No one's holding a gun to my head. No one's telling me you gotta watch it. But it's like I'm going to, you know?
I
Yeah.
do like see that side of like being like what the fuck is this? But I think I would agree more with that if Akira Toriyama didn't work on it. Because then it would just be like a take this, eat it, as opposed to like,
Yeah.
I've been working on this. This is kind of fun. Here, you know?
Yeah, I get it. Like we'll see how what goes on like in the future with the show. Um if it's like if it gets really bad, like see if we drop it or not. This is the show where I'm definitely like I'll watch it, but I won't want to talk about it if it's bad. But like we'll see how it goes. Right now, for me, it's like it has me intrigued about where they're going with the story. And like that's all you can really ask from a show at the end of the day. It's not boring. It's not making me dread continuously watching it. But yeah, do you have anything else on it? All right. Well, what do you guys think about Dragon Ball Daima? Let us know in the comments below. Oh yeah, well, by the way, too, I said I was gonna talk about Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. I am gonna talk about that. I love this game. I love this game so much. This game is everything I've always wanted as a kid. Like, tell them how have I not shut up about this game since it came out?
He every other TikTok I get from him or any other type of like media that he sends me is either
They call him the what?
that
They call him the drink. When
or
I was a kid.
just random Dragon Ball like AMVs or whatever the hell, or
Oh,
just Sparking Zero. That's all
oh
I've
my
been
God.
getting
It's
lately.
so good. It's so good.
And
Listen,
I'm happy he's happy.
listen. I know people I think honestly, I mean, I'm sure there are some like girls who play the game, but like
Yeah, this is
but
in everything.
but it is such like it feels like because I've only really talked to like guys who have played like who really watch. I mean, Dragon Ball is such a man thing. Like Dragon Ball itself is really. I mean, come on, you know it's true. You know it's true. It's very like male. Like that's what the thing is for. It was like it's the main shit. Like shown in its boy anime. You know, like this is the thing, right, for dudes. Um,
For men.
for the men, for the men like me. Um, no, but what I'm getting at is that like every dude that like I've talked to about this has like just been this is everything. This this game is everything. It's just so much fun. And you know what the best thing about it though, because I am an animation like snob, the game looks
It does.
like how Demon Slayer is like
It
animated. And
looks
I love
really
how
good.
Demon Slayer the attacks when they hit, it has a those black and white I can't remember what it was impact marks and it just looks so fucking sick, man. When you power up a blast and you shoot that, you feel like you're the one shoot. Like you feel like it's part of the movie. Like it is just, it's so great. And every
It
punch,
does look
the
really good.
dodging, like the dodging mechanisms are great. It takes honestly, there's a lot of ways to play the game. It's not just like button smashing and you're hoping for. I mean, you can't do that, but like there's a lot of strategy that goes into it. Like if you like play online a lot like that. Um, and I didn't even talk about the story mode. Story mode's sick. They have a bunch of like what ifs too. And I love me a what if. I love I've spent plenty of hours, days, countless months listening to like what if Goku was locked in the hyperbolic time chamber and betrayed part 82. Like love those things. So having what ifs in this is awesome. Some of them are kind of weak, but there are plenty that I've played through. Like Goku's story has a lot. Vegeta's has a lot. Only thing I think they're missing is like a future Gohan what if where he lives. And I think that kind of sucks because future Gohan's like my goat. Love him. But yeah, I mean Sparking Zero, not sponsored. Love the game though. I wish they sponsored us. Sponsor us, Sparking Zero. I'll uh I'll just keep glazing you up. Nice and glazed. But anyway, that's Sparking Zero. That's my talk about Sparking Zero. Let's get into Dandadan. We're on what are we on? Episode three? Yeah, episode
I
three,
think
right?
so. Hmm.
Uh we got to meet a new character in Dandadan. We get to see the continuation of uh what's his name? Oka-kun. Occult Coon's powers. We get to see like some more
Okaru? Okaru?
Okaru. I'm gonna call him Occult Coon.
So?
I think his name's a Colt Coon. Well, I know his name is actually
Ken.
Okaroon. Yeah,
Ken.
Ken. Sorry, Ken. Let me get it. Ken. But yeah, we get to meet Momo's like grandma, who's apparently like 82 years old. And boy, I don't think she's 82 years old. It's- and the grandma makes or the Ken makes the same jokes. It's not just me. It's not just me. You don't look at me like that. You as soon as you saw her, you were like, whoa. You were like, whoa. What do you think about the grandma?
She just
What do you think about
she
the grandma? What do you think about the grandma?
she um she looks.
She has eyes. You
She looks.
confirmed has eyes. Would you say
She
cheeks?
I said she.
You said she has the cheeks.
She. Sorry, let me enunciate. She does not look her age.
She got them cheeks. That's the moral of the story. Um, I like the beginning introduction to her where she's like oh she's lost her way. She can't tell the future of
Yeah.
this idol or whatever's going on, and then we find out later in the episode like she was completely right from like
hmm
TMZ, and then all she wants to do is watch like comedy shows. Like it's
She's
pretty
so
funny.
real, actually. Like
Yeah.
she's so real.
Yeah, I think it's it I think an anime where you never really get to see like I mean you do see like loving relationships between like family members and things, but I think it comes like it's always hard. You don't really see it a lot, you know? And when you do see it, it's not like seen in like a like happy light. Like I think of like Sakura. I mean, Sakura's a terrible fucking example because she's a terrible person. But Sakura is like in the Naruto the last movie or not Naruto the last, whoever one with
That
Menma's
wasn't
in
the
it.
last.
Yeah, whatever one Menma's in. She's like, I hate that my parents are supportive. I hate that they tell
God, I
me,
wish I didn't have
yeah.
parents.
Oh, and she tells Naruto, you're so lucky you don't have parents. And Naruto's like,
He's just standing there like,
bruh, like the most bruh. But anyway, like that's the you get what I'm saying. There's a lot of like instances in anime where like they don't show family as like good. I guess like all like mangakas are like they just hate their family apparently. But I think they did actually a pretty decent job of like they obviously have some tension. Momo and the grandma have some tension between each other. And for kind of obvious reasons, I think that if you have a grandma who's kind of famous and it's just this like basically a wizard who like everyone says she's like so great at everything she does, well, whatever. I mean, she has powers. She walks around with a
yeah.
bat that has like powers. She has a TV show. She's this person. She's basically everything that Momo isn't. Momo really tries to like kind of stay a little bit under the radar in terms of like not wanting to stick out that much. But but what's it called? Like you know what I'm saying? Like they're just not the same people. So seeing the grandma like give her a hug and then be like, oh, do this. Like I know you like him. Like being trying to connect while also like be a teacher in a way. I think that that's a good way of showing like a relationship being brought back together. And then even Momo being like, "Oh, I love you too," or whatever. I think that was a very cool moment for me in that show because you don't really get to see that a lot. Uh, but then also we get to cut to a lot of occult coons. He still doesn't have a dick. Um, he has zero penis, and he's freaking. They have him inside of a fucking an outside like house. He's just
He's in
staying
like
there.
a temple, like a praying house or something.
I like how the grandma was immediately like, "Oh yeah, I killed him. He's dead. He's
No,
dead."
she's funny as fuck. Like she just be messing with Momo, and Momo's such a like spaz. She's like, "What do you mean?
She
What?"
immediately runs out. It's like, like it's so funny. This episode was really good. I really like this one a lot.
hmm
This might be my favorite episode so far out of the three. Like this was just so much fun. I like learning about the grandma, like learning about Momo stuff. The what did you really like about it?
Um, I will just kind of like um starting from the beginning of my
Yeah.
thoughts. I really liked the grandma's introduction. I liked kind of seeing it from a different perspective because at the beginning we get like a brief description of her from Momo. And it's from Momo's perspective, so you kind of just get like her side of things, and then to see where it comes from the grandma side, it was really interesting. I think I do really like the grandma. She's funny as fuck. Um, I also do like I agree with you in saying that they're very like opposite characters. And I find it like funny because I was like digging through or like just like scrolling through stuff, and I learned that Momo is also, because I think I referenced this in our last podcast, that Momo's friend is a gyaru, which is like a type of fashion in Japan, and it's very like loud, like it's extremely like a loud type of fashion. But Momo's also a gyaru, but she's like a more like subdued
Yeah.
version of it. And I find that very interesting because like she like her grandma's like loud as fuck. She's a public figure. Um and she's like still like loud in her own way, because that fashion style is also like a means of like protest. So I just find that aspect very interesting of like their dynamic and how she chooses to present herself. um this episode also just had like so many jokes, like it was so funny, not just like the grandma, but the way
Yeah.
that Momo and Okarun are interacting with each other was really funny. I'm excited to see this kind of like semi training arc we're going to be going into,
Yeah.
because they have to, like train their powers in order to defeat fucking dead granny. So
Yeah.
so
Turbo
I'm
Granny.
really, yeah, turbo granny. So I'm really excited to see how this how this plays out. And like I kind of like I didn't like reference this to you. I could kind of connect with the grandma, because there are a lot of like members in my family that are like kind of like that, like into the like superstition stuff and like the occultist stuff. So, and they're also just like loud as fuck and like don't take shit from anybody. So I could really like it was like very comforting in a way to see like a character like that on screen. I don't know. So I really like her character.
Yeah. I think I should restate how I feel about how Momo's character is. It's not necessarily that she's like quiet. It's more that like she tries to act like she's not like her grandma, but she is very
Right.
much
That's what I
just
mean.
like her grandma.
Yeah.
Like just in a new age sort of way. I think the comedic timing in this show is like so on par. Like we have a Colt Coon like I need the Pope. Like he's like I'm not gonna poop in front of you, and he's like, "Oh, just poop." I'm like it's just so funny. And then you have like the grandma and Momo talking, and she's like, "Oh yeah, well I got abducted by aliens. Aliens don't exist. He got his dick stolen from a turbo granny. Well, yeah, that makes sense. They're the occult. It's just like you hypocrite. Like it's just so deadpan humor is hilarious in this show. Like they've given the rule of three like to the highest
Yeah.
potential it can go. It is very good in terms of humor. Um, I'm excited to see Occult Coon's training arc too to see where
Hmm.
his powers go. I really liked how his demon form looks. I
Yeah,
mean,
so do I.
I don't even think we got to talk about episode two at all.
No,
We
we
didn't.
didn't. We
Yeah,
didn't.
yeah, yeah. Episode two, basically, occult coon turns into like his demon form and turns into Shikamaru, and he even gave us a fucking what a drag, like he
Yeah, I like
like
that.
yeah, it was a pretty cool transformation. Do you like transformation? Are you into that?
Yeah, I did really like how he looked. I wasn't expecting it because like I didn't know anything about this show going in.
Yeah,
Um, so it was like a big surprise to me. Um, so I'm excited to kind of see more of that because it's so different from Okarun's uh main personality.
right. Yeah, it's pretty cool too. I mean, I obviously I'm not obviously well, you wouldn't know, but I am a huge not you as in you as the audience um, wouldn't know this, but I love JJK and the powers in which these characters have. Like they have nails and they have a baseball bat. And my one
Yeah,
of
yeah,
my
yeah. I
favorite
forgot about that.
one of my favorite characters in JJK is our Lord and Sister Nobara. We love her. And how resonance. I thought that that's exactly what they were
That
doing in these last two episodes. I thought Momo versus the demon thing was like
was a
super
really cool
cool.
fight. Yeah,
I really liked the black and white that they did in the last episode too. I thought
yeah.
that was really fun. And then when they mixed it with the red when he turns into Turbo Granny, I think is just very cool. I thought that whole fight was very well and well animated, and it was just like I really like this show.
The art direction is so good because
Yeah, it
I
is.
completely forgot about the whole like black and white sequence when that other demon or like ghost or whatever shows up.
Yeah.
That was really good. It was really good to kind of like differentiate the spirit world versus like the real world.
Yeah.
Uh, I am really enjoying. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, there was a really cool moment in the last episode, in episode two, when she's like getting beat into like the wall,
I was just gonna
and
mention that.
and and Occult Coon is like no, like freaking out, like no, and he can't transform, whatever's happening with her, and then she's like, I've dug myself deep into the wall, now he can't reach me with his fist, and then it's like wow, and I was like, oh hell yeah, it's like strategy, um. But yeah, no, their fights is like super cool. I like
Mm-hmm.
all these characters so far. There isn't anybody that like usually when you get to like episode three, like they're only gonna have like
There's
the first two,
someone you don't like, yeah.
and they're gonna start introducing like we're gonna meet Bamora, we're gonna meet Gigi and Ari soon. Those are just other like side characters. We're gonna meet them soon enough. They're like people from their school. Uh, but yeah, like after we get past this training arc, like, and the majority of this show is gonna be him trying to get his penis back, which is hilarious too. Like the whole point of the show is just he has nothing going on out there. And I really like their dynamic still. I like how they both how Momo and Occult Kun both care about each other,
Mm-hmm.
even though it is very shallow because they just have saved each other, and that's kind of like what it is. Like, oh, they care because that's just what it is, right? Like, you kind of need to at that point. Like, he likes her because she gave a fuck about him, and then now she's seeing that he gives a fuck about her. So now, we're gonna see it blossom and grow from there. But it is like, I like it. I like how it doesn't seem forced, you know?
No, it feels very natural. Like they're like the way they interact with each other. They have very good chemistry. And like that's how you know that they're very well written characters.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I would say in terms of like because this whole manga is actually a romance comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So
You could
and
tell.
and it like masquerades as like an action like an action like show not shouju but whatever the adult
Shoujo?
action, yeah, the adult
Oh, wait.
action, not shoujo, it's something else.
Shou oh.
It's like I forget what it's called, but whatever. Shonen, we'll just call it shonen. It masquerades itself as like an action type of show, but in reality, it's categorized as a romance comedy. It's in the same light as like I guess if you want to call Spy Family a romance comedy, but like it's kind of in that same vein how it ends up being written. But yeah, I really can't wait to see what happens next with this show. I'm excited to see more of Colt Coon's form. Excited to see what they do with the training. I think the granny's hilarious. In the next episode, we're gonna see the showdown, I guess, between all of them. We're gonna go, well, not all of them. It's just gonna be Momo and a Colt Coon going into like the home base of Turbo Granny. So we can see what happens there. What do you guys think? You have anything else on this episode, by the way? But anyway, what do you guys think? Do you guys like Dandadan? Are you excited about the next episode? Let us know in the comments below. Okay, let's talk about the end, the beginning, the middle, the everything in a circle, known
The
as
spiral.
in a spiral, known as Uzumaki. Uzumaki, the show just ended. Uh, 4 episodes only. Um, Suffice to say, the show has been an up and down experience for at least me. I I want to let you take this away. You can either do a whole series review on it, or you can go episode by episode. You choose your path. Choose your own adventure.
Oh, love a choose your own adventure. I'm wearing my Uzumaki sweater. Mhm. Had to bring it out for the moment. Um, what's her name? The girls on the back. um, I was so I wasn't anticipating anything more than this show. And the first episode was so like beautifully unnerving that I was like I couldn't wait for the next one. I was so full of hope, full of youthful wonder. Um, and then the second episode came, and I felt like you know how like when SpongeBob goes to rock bottom, but he like falls.
Yeah.
That's how I felt after watching the second episode. It was just so bad, and there's no other like way of saying it. It was just fucking bad. Um, and it's so unfortunate that they had to not that they had to, but that it happened in the way that it did, where they just changed animation like companies altogether, and it's so bad. They should have just like held it off even longer if that
Yeah.
was the case. We'd already waited like what, like 5 fucking years or so. Like what's another two? It
Yeah, before you like just stop you really quick. Like I think that like we had a conversation about this with our friends earlier today, and like we were talking about, um does like good or bad animation like fully make or break a show? Like I lean on yes. And I feel like but if the story is really good, it's like I guess you could just keep watching. Like I don't really think like Free Run's all that amazing. It does have really good moments, but it's very like really good story, but then it has like top tier moments. I would say the show like it peaks and then it's like it is all the way down there. And I think that this show is like just talking specifically about episode 2, it was such a stark difference, that was like um it was kind of jarring in a way, like seeing how I don't know. I think like Love and how the first one just looked very like well defined line work. There was like if they did do like a still screen, it looked like they went over the manga and it looked really good. And I think that it just looked very like spaghetti like in a way in the episode 2, and especially when they were like running, it was like, what the fuck is going on with this running? The running, and they did not know how to fucking make running in this show. The CG just looked it looked odd. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know if it really. What do you think about that? Do you think like animation makes or breaks a show?
Um, yeah, I mean, I do. I think it takes you out of um I think it takes you out of the story. Like you're not focusing on anything else. At least that's how it is for me. Um, but to go back into my thoughts on Uzumaki, I overall I think that it was just like it was a mediocre retelling of a really good story. I think in its entirety, it skipped over a lot of like underlining plot points that make it all make sense. Because it is just like a jumbled up story of like
Hmm.
different instances that lead up to this bigger picture. Um, so I feel like it was just lacking a lot for the sake of quick production, and I think that that is also something that makes or breaks a show. Like pushing shit out, like quantity over quality is it's terrible.
It's funny because they didn't
It's
have either in this.
yeah, like I mean they did at the beginning, like in the very first episode, like it was so like so beautifully drawn, and for the sake of quick production, they like sacrificed all of the like art quality in it, you know?
Yeah.
Um and I have been trying to like look for the panel specifically, but I haven't been able to find it. I wanted to double check the way that the manga ends versus the way the anime ends. Because I knew that the very last thing that happens is Kyrie and Shuichi forming their own kind of like intertwined spiral togetherness thing, like we saw, I believe in episode 2. I believe that is how it like ends. Like it's just I think the very last panel is just like a shot of them over the town entangled together. Um and if that's the case, then the anime ended fine. But I will say I didn't necessarily like the very like it was very jarring, like the very jarring like black screen right after. Like there wasn't any type of like fading out or anything. It just seemed very abrupt. And for the whole like entirety of the show to be as like mediocre as it was, for it to like end on a black screen, which is kind of like we're done.
Yeah.
Finally, we did it.
Yeah. I feel you there. I like it's the same in the same way how you like explain the show. It's in the same way that I'm like I need to push myself from being like taking the show so seriously to being like he just ran up a fucking tree. You know? It's like oh they run like they run like how I run in dreams. You know? Like the last episode was the silliest thing I've ever watched. Like the first like we cut back to the town from episode like 3 and they're like the whole town's destroyed. Everybody's an airbender. Don't talk too loud otherwise like and then they to avoid the tornadoes they just fall on the ground. Like
it's
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 silly.
so it's so upsetting because in the like I remember when I was reading the manga, it all felt like thrilling to be like, oh my god, like what happened? Why do they keep like when they're in the woods and they think that they're getting away from the
Yeah.
town, but they're going in circles. That read very like, oh my god, like why can't they get out? You know, like it the way that it was paced in the manga is just so like that's what made me excited to see it animated. So it just it's so disappointing
Yeah.
the way
Nah.
that it happened because I was so excited.
Yeah, and then, it's like I will say the third episode for me was very like I could not wait for it to end, and I was like, God,
That was
this is
very
bad.
long.
It felt it's actually shorter than the last episode. They've
Oh,
actually
well,
gotten
it felt
longer
long.
as each one. Yeah, the third episode felt like a
Long.
fucking eternity. I cannot wait to stop watching it. I didn't mind how the third episode or the fourth and final episode was. I thought that it was like overall, I think the series is like very meh, but I feel like this one had the most entertainment value for me besides the first one. Because like I just thought the whole fourth episode was hilarious, and there was just like you have what's Endeavor, his voice actor was in it, and he's just like, "Come on, guys, I'm building up the place to have everybody's bones be crushed. You guys want a room?" Like we meet this like reporter who like stays with them for like almost the entirety of the episode. Then she gets like eaten by the house, and you're like, "Ah." Anyway,
It's not
like
like she could have gotten out anyway. Like nobody
this
was
this
getting
is
out of there.
this entire episode, or honestly, this entire show was like the meme of like some like he shoots somebody and he's like, "Oh, how terrible." Anyway, like, yeah, this, I actually hated when the dude is like, I can't wait till he turns into a snail. And then he turns into a snail and he's like, I'm gonna go watch me here. I heard that the animals do this. Like goes into the fucking the snails like hole
Swear.
and then they're like save me some you bum.
I swear,
And
reading it, it feels so much more morbid and
oh, it was
like
so funny.
terrible. But watching it because of the way it looked, like, why did he slither like that? Like, he
That was
looked like
so
he was
funny.
the physics, like, in that, like, uh, piece alone. He looked like a snake. Like, he looked like he had no bones at all. It,
Well, there was that. There was when the brother was turning into a snail and
and
like
they're trying to hide.
oh, that was so fucking funny. They're like, "What's going on?" The guy's like, "What's going on over there?" Nothing. Nothing's going on over here. And then he turns into a
Why is
snail
his
and then
back? Why is his back big? That's his backpack.
it was so funny. And then he turns into a snail and then they go to the edge of the cliff and she's just like, "You can climb down, right?" And he's like, like she's like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "You gotta go, you dumb stupid animal, or I'm gonna smack you." She was like, "Oh, I'm gonna smack you." Like, what would you rather do? Get smacked or get eaten? Go, just go, just go. And then he's like, and fucking, we never see him again. He's the brother's just gone. That was so fun. Also, I want to talk about the airbenders in the beginning. They're like, how fucking funny was that when they were like, well, we're no longer the butterfly gang. We're the jumbo dragonfly gang
Yeah, with
because
the big
because
dragonfly cake.
because dragonflies eat other things. And then the fucking background character's like, yeah, we're the jumbo dragonflies because butterflies are lame. Like that was so I loved that. That was
No, that was so funny. What made it funnier for me was like hearing you under your breath go, "Well, thanks for letting us fucking know."
yeah, I know. They like had to update them. Actually, our titles are different now. We're the jumbo. We're the jumbo dragonfly. We're not just regular. We're jumbo. Yeah. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, people are turning into snails, and that's what you're worried about. Your
That's
your
what to say. Like, I
title.
think it's so funny that like this town is going to shit. Like, there's clearly something terrible going on here, and there's still like the need for like a macho like gang to
There's
like
there's like
terrorize
a
the people
whole
some more.
there's a whole other like manga going on in this. There's like the what's that one show that the Tokyo Revengers? There's the whole like
Tokyo
other
Revengers.
it's this the jumbo dragonfly Avengers are going on right now. You know what? Honestly, they're telling the kids, don't go join that gang. Why not?
They're eating snails.
Why not? At that point, why the F not? They could fly on tornadoes. I know we see immediately they get eaten up by a spiral, but apparently that place has been getting decimated by them for apparently weeks. The
They
also
were
the
gone for
time
like what, like 3 months or something like that?
I don't know. I don't know what's going on in this. I don't know. I don't know what the timeline.
I think it was 3 months.
When they go into the forest, it's like years, and then they come back. It's
Three
years later.
years. It was three
Yeah, but
years.
but
Yeah.
this is before all that. I don't know what the time jump was between episode 3 and 4, but apparently they've been doing this for a while, being airbenders and not leaving. They decided they wanted to stay in this tiny tri-state area with their powers and not leave.
It's not like they could.
They should have left.
They
Somebody
walk in
that's
circles.
they were like you gotta admit though, they probably had like a gang meeting and they were like,
All
hey,
right, guys.
all right, we can't be this lame ass, gay ass butterfly like name anymore. We gotta be the macho men. Somebody on the playground was like, hey, butterflies suck. And they're like, we can't be the, we gotta be the dragonflies. And someone's like, the jumbo dragonflies. Like, yeah, that's anybody they meet now. They're like, hey, you want to join the jumbo dragon? It's just, it's such a stupid part of the show. And if you fall, there's like a tornado. Like, when we cut back to after uh they get through like the forest thing, and Endeavor's like, hey, when you guys get back, I'll build you a thing. And it's just like you
The
did.
spiral of the row houses has already been made.
I love how when they meet him in the middle, he's like in the middle of a fucking 8 hour shift. He's just like, yeah, I've been doing this. We're almost done. You should have saw Mr. McMiller down there down the road was saying that there's somebody doing something crazy because they're all together and morphed. But I have conversations with them maybe. Like, and they're Shuichi and fucking Curie are like, oh, okay. Have you seen my parents in this amalgamation of skulls? And he's like, yeah, I think I have actually. Like, what's
I
happening?
really like after watching this, I need you to read the manga and to see if you still feel like if it's funny because I swear it like reading it is such a different experience than watching whatever the hell this was.
It was
And
just so goofy.
I'm just convinced that Junji Ito's works cannot be translated into motion. It just doesn't work. Like I'm convinced after the anthology, the Junji Ito collections on Netflix after this, after the like terrible live action movies, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work.
I feel like
Nope.
there's a
He
way
needs to
to
do it
do this.
himself. And they got it. The first episode, they did it.
Kind of,
But
kind.
nobody's patient.
I would say the first that like I don't think that there was a through storyline that was like a cohesively put together story. And I get that like the manga isn't a cohesive put together story either. So you would have to use your own creative juices to how to like put everything together. It just felt like there was a lot of like picking and choosing where they put things. I know that like a lot of it wasn't actually in the order that came out in the anime or in the manga. So like they chose that. You know what I mean? They chose to do that. I feel like there's a way to like introduce things at once. Like the most consistent thing throughout the entire like the one thing I could tell you consistently throughout this entire thing is that fucking there are a lot this guy loves snails. This guy fucking loves snails.
You know
Big
what he
fucking
does? Because I think there's another story where there's like a snail girl or
yeah.
something, and like that's like the main thing. But
Loves fucking snails. That's what I got out of this. Big snail guy.
but like no,
Loves
like
Gary.
the way that the way that they did the anime, they did pick and choose when they were showing things. Like, um, albeit they weren't like too far off from when they're shown in the manga it themselves, but it was like we're gonna just show this and then we're gonna do this. And it, like I said previously, in the manga there is like a there is like a continuous like sub, not like subplot, but things happen or things are said that leads you to that conclusion of there being like that underground like temple like thing that's
Yeah.
alive. It leads up to that, um which the anime did not do for the sake of just showing you shit, you know? And
Yeah.
it, after learning that they changed animation like people or like animation companies, it makes so much fucking sense why they had all of the heavy hitters, like the most famous images in the whole manga in the very first episode. Like they wanted to show you all of the like this is look at that we could do this, we did it. And then like everything else is like shit, like nothing else mattered. So it's it's almost like a fuck you, you know, like we're gonna show you like what it's gonna like what it could have looked like, and then
Yeah.
it's just gonna be ass like the rest of the way.
I
And
will say, like, before you like move on with that point though, like, I don't, I didn't disagree with that though. You know, like having it be everything in that first episode, like it's almost like they kind of knew, like it's like they knew
mhm.
that that's how it was gonna happen. So it was
Yeah.
like I'm sure the people who worked on the latter three episodes worked on the first episode too, a little bit, you know? So I'm sure that there was something like the blueprints were there to like complete whatever was going on in the first
Yeah.
episode too. Yeah,
Yeah,
anyway.
no, I'm sure that like there was like a there had to have been like a storyboard where they knew what they were going to talk about, and how it was like gonna end, you know. But
Yeah.
it was just like the difference is that it was just then rushed. That's like the biggest
Yeah.
difference, because I don't know if it was like a complete like clean break from like company to company, or if they had just like maybe like fired their art director or something. Like I don't know like how like extensive this change was, but it's obvious that there was a change in direction. um
You know what?
and I
Listen, if Uzumaki can come out, Blade can come out. So
it's just
Blade and Uzumaki in
disappointment
development
after,
here,
you know what,
Raquel.
disappointment after disappointment, because I was so excited for Uzumaki, disappointed. I was so excited for Blade, disappointment. We're not even getting Blade. I'm tired. I think they can't keep dangling Blade in my face and then
So dumb. So dumb.
but
Yeah.
yeah, Uzumaki. I highly recommend to read. If you haven't, please read Uzumaki and see how much different it is from this crap that that was given to
Maybe.
us. Please, not
Maybe.
speaking to you, please.
I think I think the most cohesive story that this thing has had is right when they went into the forest, and from the forest on in that show it was like, okay, this is story. We have stuff that is continuously happening
And that
that
was for the
makes
most
sense.
part panel for panel. For the most part, that was panel for panel.
Yeah, that was probably the best like non-immersion breaking, I mean, obviously besides the fucking and fucking them being like, I'm gonna beat you if you don't go down
That was
this cliff, eh? That was so funny.
that was
That was
like
the
the
funniest
perfect
thing.
that was the perfect sound.
Yeah.
Like,
I
yeah,
love the subtitles though. The subtitles were the best when she was like, "Can you climb down there?" And then the subtitles were like, and she's like, oh, "Okay, good, good." Speaking snail. I guess she's fluent in snail, something like that. I don't know. I just love the image of Kyrie being like, "Oh, I'm a snack ya." Like, okay, just throw him. He's a snail. I'm sure he'll be okay. And the okay, bye. Waves with his fucking eyelid. But yeah, but after that whole thing, and then they're like, we're gonna eat you too, and then they all twist up, and you're like, oh, okay. And fucking Shuichi, this entire episode was like, we're all gonna die. Everything's terrible. I hate my life.
He's kind of like that in the manga too. Like
Oh my
he's like
God.
the almost like the omniscient like force that's like everything's bad. Kyrie, I have to save you, Kyrie.
God, you know what, he's the character that I feel the most the worst for. Everything else,
Yeah, he
Kyrie,
had it bad.
maybe Kyrie was Uzumaki was the friends we made along the way. That's
Uzumaki was the spirals we made along the way.
overall, what would you give this show? Do letter grades. What do you give this show?
The manga's an A.
She's
The
thinking.
show, the the gears are turning.
Audio only. People are like, what? What?
Sorry for the silence, y'all.
It's good podcasting.
If I could have the if I could play the gears creaking in my mind as I think I would. Yeah, the
I'm just
um
gonna make the snail sound.
that's even worse. Please, that's not my brain, guys. Um I would C minus. C minus D.
Oh wow. That low? Okay.
It
Hey,
does
that's fair.
have good moments, even when it's bad. There are like certain times where it was like, okay, like that wasn't like terribly animated,
Yeah.
but the majority of the time it was booty. So it's C minus D, unfortunately. And
Huh.
it's big, unfortunately.
I give this show a C plus for like regular ranking with all my art snob shit, but I give this an A plus
Generous.
for hilarious moments. There were so many hilarious things that had. You know what? Honestly though, maybe Junji Ito meant for it to be funny because he's a hilarious person himself. So the more I've learned about this man, the more I've learned that he's just a funny dude.
He is a funny dude.
He's a little funny, silly dude who likes just make. He's like, but what if spirals were everywhere? Like he just,
He
what if they started eating the snails? Like it'd be hilarious.
he
Um,
just loves his horror and he loves his wife. And
it,
that's all you can ask for.
I think there was too many hilarious moments in this to not give it like for hilarity's sake, and for me, for what I will remember is him running up a tree in the first episode, which was hilarious. That was the funniest thing I think anybody could have done. Then the next episode was the hair battle, and then fucking Shuichi being like, "I brought scissors." Him showing up with the things that are needed to defeat the spirals every single time was like a Scooby-Doo character in a way. Like he was just hilariously just like, I'm ready to go. Like, oh, I brought some bug spray. Like shit, that third episode with the mosquito fucking pregnant people, and then funny enough, they just have fucking drills that they brought in with them to the hospital. Nobody knows.
Yeah.
Fucking Kyrie is like, where should I put this thing? And then her cousin's like, oh, just put it on the table. Like, and then nobody wants to believe her that there is like fucking mosquitoes inside the hospital, even though there's just a dead dude in there. Multiple dead people. They're like, oh, it's the pregnant people, man. Oh, and then the talking babies was hilarious. They're
You
like, let
did
me get.
like the talking babies.
I thought that was hilarious. Let's just go back in. You know what? Don't blame them. Don't blame them at all. Didn't have to worry about anything inside the womb. Immediately when they leave, they're like, I want to go back in. Me too. Me too. Oh, and then I thought the placenta thing was gross. That placenta thing was disgusting. Why you look at me like that? What? Lock me back in, baby. Lock me back in. I'm locked in. I'm locked back in. That's what I mean. It's so funny. Like it's just so funny. What? What? What?
Well, That's Uzumaki.
Oh yeah, I want to end it on that. No, it's just I'm telling you, if you like funny, if they were to add a laugh track to Uzumaki,
Oh my god,
it would be a
no.
10 out. You know what? Maybe that's the edit I should make. Uzumaki, but it's a sitcom.
It's
It's just like
insufferable,
Shuishi
actually.
being like, I got bug spray. And then someone's like, help me, Kyrie. She's like, I don't know what to do. Like, oh God. This show is so fucking funny. I love also when they're in the row house and they're like, make some room. And then the dude's just like, make some room, guys. Just- and then as soon as they leave, they're like, I got some elbow room finally. Like they're just yapping in this show. They're just straight up yapping. But anyway, for real, the for real ranking is like C plus. C plus. That's fine. It was funny enough that I would watch this again next year and laugh. It was a good laugh. It was a good chuckle.
I would not watch this again.
This was a funny show. This was a comedy show for me.
I love Uzumaki.
The
That's
show made
funny.
me itch. The show actually gave me hives. I got hives on my my right leg after watching Uzumaki. Itchy things. But what do you think about Uzumaki? You a fan of Uzumaki? Did you think it fell off? Did you keep watching? Did you watch it all the way through? I don't really see a lot of people watching it all the way through, and I don't
I don't
blame
blame
them.
you.
But yeah, let us know in the comments below what you think. And while you're down there, remember to leave a like and subscribe. All right, let's do My Hero. We watched the My Hero movie. It was a fun movie. I thought that it had a lot of great action. I thought it had a really good story. I thought it was gonna be kind of boring, but no, I was actually thoroughly entertained all the way through. I mean, it's a goofy way to like introduce a character who's just like all might in the middle of like this battle. Like if you're watching My Hero and you're all the way caught up, you're like, how the fuck does this make sense? Like, did
But it
all
does.
like did all for one and Shigaraki just take a day off? That's what it felt like. It felt like this
It did
was
kind of feel like that.
I was really hoping at the end of the movie like Shigaraki or like All Front would have shown up and killed the bad guy. It would have like
Mm.
brought us back to he would have just like erased him and would have been like, your quirk will be worth it or some shit. Because that's what they did in Two Heroes, I think. When the bad guy
I
in
don't
Two
remember.
Heroes, remember when they were at the island at the end? And like Shigaraki shows up and sees the bad guy, and the bad guy's like, "I'm sorry for messing up Shigaraki," and Shigaraki's like, "It's
Yes.
okay," and
Mm.
then erases him. I thought that was
Yes.
so fucking cool. I was like, "Oh, this is sick." I wish something like that would happen. That's the only thing I really wish that would have happened in this movie. It was had sick moments. The fights were sick. Deku was hilarious. Deku was amazing
It
character in
actually
this.
really
That
was.
was the my favorite moment in this movie was when he's helping the dude pick up the motorcycle and he's like, I can help without my quirk too. I have muscles. And then it's just silence and
It's just the longest pause.
the guy's like, you could stop touching my motorcycle now. Like, and then he ties him up, has him in the back of his motorcycle. He's like, I thought I could use you for bait. Like he's so real. That guy was so funny. I know he's the ultimate simp, but like, God, it was such a such a funny uh movie, but it was like great too. I didn't feel like crying in this movie, but I definitely was like, this was just this is kick ass movie. This was a kick ass movie.
Yeah. Now I, as your resident My Hero hater,
Yeah.
I was going into this knowing I might walk out liking it because I tend to like the My Hero movies way more than the show. Um and
Which is fair.
I think after walking out of this, it's my new favorite My Hero movie. It was so funny.
Yeah.
The fights were like so thrilling and like fun to watch, and the concept was really fun. Um I didn't feel like it was like too out of place with what was going on in the anime right now. Um I do like share in the sentiment of like wishing that there was like an AFO or uh shaky pop-up moment. Because then it would have made like even more sense, I guess. But I really enjoyed this. I really liked Deku in the movie. I thought he was funny. I
Yeah.
thought he was like kicking ass. Um I like didn't find him annoying, which I usually do. And I thought that the inclusion of the rest of 1A was like you know how sometimes like they'll just add them to be like, yeah, they're here. They felt like very integral to what was happening in the story, not just
Yeah.
like it's the Deku show, which I really liked. Um, but no, it was yeah, it was really good. Really, really good.
Yeah, I thought I liked the inclusion of everybody. I thought that everybody had a chance to shine. I mean, even the fucking Invisible Girl had like multiple lines in this show or in this movie, and I
Yeah.
thought that was
Mm-hmm.
hilarious. Even though she's just naked the entire time, like what the hell? Don't think about her too much. They didn't give my boy Coda a single line. They gave him look. That was
When do they ever?
that was his only voice line. I don't even think they gave the voice actor a credit on the in the movie. Um, I think if you want to talk about anything that was bad about it, they continuously showed Uraraka's ass the entire
Yeah, like
fucking
what the
movie.
fuck? Like
Oh
every
my
time she was
God.
on screen, it was either like her ass in shot or just her backside.
They made her thick in this movie. Like she
Like
is in the I've the right now
she's a
in the
child.
show. Like right now in the show, it's like Toga versus Uraraka, right? And like we've seen a bunch of her this entire season. It looks like she is a thick version of that character in this movie. And I was like, what the fuck? Like they're children. Why do they continuously
and
show?
it's not even like you're like you're thinking that like they're
No.
showing her that
Yeah,
way, like
no, no,
that's
no.
how she's being drawn.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah. Exactly. It's not
it's a
just me.
little that was a little concerning.
Like
um
I could be a horn dog, but like God, like they were like every time she talked, it was like they didn't even show her face. Like they just showed an upward like motion showing her body. I was like, dude, come
yeah,
on, man. Every single time.
she is a
Um,
child.
that was kind of annoying. And like the thing is, you have a woman who's an adult in this. It's not saying you need to have like eye candy in these things, because you don't. But they did have like the Lady D from Silent Hill type character inside this movie, and it was
Yeah, she
like,
was hot, like she
yeah,
was
she
great.
was hot. If you're gonna do it to anybody, I guess you could do it to the adult, not the child. Although then again, the show has Momo who wears nothing. They have a literal woman who's invisible who
Yeah,
wears
I'm like
nothing.
there are other problems with the other teenage girls
Yeah,
in My Hero, which is
I mean
also one of the reasons why
they're
I
made.
don't like My Hero.
I think my honestly, it's not a hot take. I think my hero's sexist.
Yes, yes,
I
it
think my
is.
hero's
I
sexist.
mean, like I feel like that's a whole another conversation
Yeah,
for a
yeah, we know
different
that
day
now.
because I have thoughts about Miss Midnight also.
Oh yeah,
There's a lot
Miss
of there's a lot of
Midnight, Mountain Lady,
there's a lot.
uh,
Yeah, yeah, I have a lot of thoughts.
Suyu has like the tongue. Although in her like Tsukiyomi like family thing, that was so cute where she's just ribbiting with her family.
That was really cute. I'm like, so that's all she wants.
Their infinite Tsukiyomi moment that they had inside, which is if you don't know what that is, that's just like they were one of the people's powers is able to put them in like a dream state where it shows everything that they want. And it was kind of cute because we got to see almost everybody's like what they would want ideally. And like
Mhm.
you see dude who has like a face covering, who has like the big arm, like flappy things, who doesn't fly, who has the eyes,
Oh,
whatever his name is. I don't know what his name is, but that guy who like has the Kakashi hair. Uh anyway, that guy's was like he's just working the farm with his little sister or whatever's going on. You have like guy with tail master being in a dojo. Um it was kind of cool. All of them had their own like little moments that I thought was a very cute like insert. And then we see like Deku's was like hanging out with All Might. Deku's was hanging out with All Might with powers, and I was like, oh, that's kind of sad because you could hang out with him anytime you want.
Well, no, Deku's was like he was a little kid at first, remember? And he was like in the room, his room with like all of that like All Might memorabilia and
No,
stuff
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like his dream is to go back to like seeing All Might in the
being a
same way he
kid.
saw him as a kid, but it's like, oh, he doesn't see him the same way anymore in a way. So I was like, oh, in a way, this movie was about killing, defeating your dreams and everything in a way. If you want to look any deeper than what it was. I thought Shoto's was heartbreaking after watching this last episode with,
That was rough. That
oh my
was
God,
really hard.
not Endeavor and a rope being like, okay, kids, have fun. And then seeing, when they're zooming away from Shoto, he's like, "Let's go get some boba or whatever. His brother's
Soba.
soba, yeah, his that's his brother's favorite food, and we end up finding that out later. So I thought that was a really cute like insert. Ironically enough, we never get to see Bakugo's. I really want to know what Bakugo's.
Well, actually,
Did we see
s-
Bakugo's?
no, I was talking about something else.
Oh, okay.
Soba is also Todoroki's favorite food for the same reason.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, that part was so cute. That was such a cute little.
Yeah, that
Did you
was
find
like bittersweet.
did you find the guy's name?
Yeah, you were talking about Shoji.
Shoji, dude, they all have the fucking same name. You got
You're
Shoji, you
talking
got
about
fucking
Shoji, and then the tail guy is Ojiro.
Ojiro, dude. I'm remembering your name now because I never. That was so fucking funny too. They were all introducing their powers, and then what's his name? Bakugo was like, "You're gonna do this. You're gonna do this," and then I was just waiting for the tail guy to be like, "And what do you want me to do?" Just stand there, and Bakugo would be like, help."
You also really liked Ida's.
Oh, yeah, kind of. Ida had like a little moment there. Him and Momo had a little moment to like shine as class reps. I love Ida. Ida's one of my favorite My Hero characters. But I mean, he's not part of the big three, so we don't get to really see him use his powers or run really fast completely. I don't know. It's fine. It was fine. I liked Ida. It wasn't. I think he has the sickest outfit out of all of them. He's one of my favorite. Like, that's what we should do. Favorite My Hero outfits. That'd be cool. That'd be fun. But yeah, all like the All Might references were amazing in this. Like All Might, Dark Might, was just such a funny, goofy villain. Like he was like it's not really about, you know, how compelling Dark Might was. It was more about like Deku and I cannot remember the other dude's name, but the Terminator guy he was hanging out with. Like
Oh.
um I can't remember his name, but yeah, Zero Roy. He looks like a Roy to me.
No, it wasn't Roy.
I know it's not Roy, but whatever his name was, uh,
No,
Ryan,
Julio.
Giulio, yeah, because they're all Italian. That was also hilarious when Dark Might uses his like United States smash. His was like
Oh my
Ticonderoga
god.
smash.
No,
Oh, tell him your
no.
favorite part with Deku.
My favorite part, he was giving old boy the 1-2, but he just kept he just kept fucking going. He's like California, Texas,
Well, hold on.
Delaware.
Explain. You gotta what the scene that she's
I'm
talking
sorry. I'm
about.
sorry. I was getting excited.
The scene that she's talking about is when it's like the final battle between Deku and Dark Might, and they're both loading up their punches, and Deku hits the dude with like a "Ugh," really quick, and then Deku's like, "Oh, I'm gonna give you the
The
real." He's
one
like,
two.
"Oh, he's like, oh, you want to know what All Might's about? Oh, I'm gonna show you." And he said like
Piling it
16
up.
states in a row. He was like, New Hampshire, California, Illinois, Iowa, New York. He just kept naming states and then was like,
And he finishes with the
"Smash."
Detroit.
Oh, yeah, he won't say Michigan. He'll say Detroit smash. But like, oh, that was so
it
funny,
was
but it was
it
so
was
good too. There
Like
was I didn't feel like crying, but I was like, oh hell yeah. Hell yeah.
yeah, like it was like as funny and goofy as it was a very like yeah, like go Deku moment. Like it was really good. Um I feel like I was like the only one in that theater though, like laughing my ass off. Like I couldn't breathe. Like I was laughing so
I really laughed out loud when he was like,
hard.
well, actually, we
No,
can
that
go
was you and I. We were the only ones in that theater.
Bro, Deku was so funny in this. So every single time so in the beginning he kind of like loses his powers, like somebody's using like a quirk to like mute his powers, right? And he's just saying shit, dude. He's just fucking he's behind a rock just yapping to this dude. He's like
He just
if I
won't
distract
shut
him and I do this and then the guy's like just pushes him. He's like ah. He runs around like Toby. He's like ah. Like, and then the guy's like, "You're a pretty good distraction." He's like, "I do say so myself." Like, it's
he
just
had
so.
like an office moment where he looked right at the camera after saying like something was said or he said something and he just like
Oh yeah,
deadpans
he
the
did.
camera like
He was like, "See, I am pretty useful with my powers, right?" And the guy's like, "No," and he's like,
yeah, he just looks at us like you hear this guy.
"It was so funny." This movie was. It is Two Heroes is always my favorite one because I get
Two
kind of
Heroes is good.
emotional with All Might and Deku doing the run together and then doing the lat do hit fucking All Might hitting the like
He
oh
had to stand up for that one, ladies and
oh
gentlemen.
it was so good. That movie is so good. But this one's probably my favorite, my new favorite one. It was not just recency bias, but it had really amazing animation. Although the animation did get a little wonky at the end. Like they just had
At
extra budget
parts.
and they were like, we're just gonna put shapes on the screen and we're gonna hope you understand what's happening here. They're like
Yeah.
geometry, geometry, geometry.
Yeah,
Like my hero,
studios.
my hero has a tendency to do that with like their big fight scenes. They do
Yeah.
the same thing that the um Naruto and Pain fight did, where it's like Pain just turns into a fucking like a bunch of triangles, and you're like, what is
Oh
happening?
yeah.
You're like, what is
Um
happening here?
yeah, Studio Bones put like all of the money that they've ever made into this movie and then said fuck the actual like anime because the actual anime's animation is like atrocious, but this was really good for Studio Bones.
Yeah. Don't no no. I mean, okay, I've said this a million times, dude. The last like 5 episodes of My Hero. Okay,
You're preaching to the choir.
let's see. Let's say there was like 48 episodes in this last season. There wasn't, but let's say there was like 23 episodes in this last season. I think 10 of them were really good. 10 of them were really well animated. But there were episodes in this. It doesn't look as bad as Blue Lock. Um, as I've heard, Blue Lock season 2 is terrible. It didn't look anything like that, but this movie did everything well that they did from the season and put it in this movie. And I thought it was a great story. I thought it did Deku really well. Did all the characters really well.
Yeah, it really
Uh,
did.
I when this movie comes out on whatever it comes out, I might buy the DVD for it. I don't know. We'll see. I like this movie a lot. What do you give it? What do you give it a letter ranking?
I'd say I would give it maybe like a give it like an A minus.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I give this movie an A plus. This movie is an A plus ultra. Uh, it's one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite My Hero movies. It's actually one of my. It's right now. It's one of my favorite anime movies in general. This was really funny. It had great comedy, great action, great animation. It had everything. Everything. It scratched an itch. This definitely scratched an itch that was like this was good. I think if people who are just not even really into anime just happen to stumble, like the random people who like DC superhero animated movies, if they were to watch this movie, I feel like they would be into My Hero. Like this movie has like very good like traction across different realms of like likeness. But if you watch the movie, what do you think? Let us know in the comments below. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe. Well, that brings us to the end of the episode here. I don't think we have anything else to talk about, right? Oh yeah. Well, I guess if you want to really quick, what was your favorite moment from this week in anime, if you have one?
Hmm, definitely Dandadan. Dandadan has been a really big like
Yeah.
highlight for me. I've been like gobbling it up. I can't wait to watch the next one.
Oh yeah. Big gobbling energy out of Dandadan for sure.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
my favorite moment is Sparking Zero. Love Sparking Zero. The drink. They call him the what? They call him the drink. The cup is my dad. They call him the juice box.
I
When I was a kid.
I feel like
That
if he talked in his sleep, this is what he would say.
well, anyway, I hope you guys liked the episode. Keep watching, keep subscribing, keep keeping on. See you later. See you in the next one. I love you.